Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sessions Café. I'm your host, Keri Singleton, and today we welcome King Supreme Dionn all the way from my home state of Massachusetts to the show. Welcome to the show, boss.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. I mean, it's a long drive from Massachusetts. I've done it.
Yes, well, it is.
Not driven, but anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome back to New York City and welcome to the show.
Appreciate it. You know, this is like another home for me, so I love it being here.
I know that's right. You're originally from Boston. I know that you live in Western Massachusetts now.
Correct.
And there is actually a part of the state of Massachusetts that is not Boston, for those that don't know.
True.
Yeah, but you're originally from Boston, which is where I'm from,
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Pretty interesting town to be from when you're trying to make it in the music industry.
It's a struggle, man.
It is.
It is.
I know it. But you've been performing since the age of 13 years old. Now, come on, listen. People always say, oh, I learned to sing when I was 2, and I started twirling and doing cartwheels when I was in the womb. Did you really start performing at the age of 13?
That's the first time I ever hit the stage.
Talk to me about that.
Man, I was nervous doing that. I grew up, you know, in the city, around Boston. A lot of music and everything. And, you know, I got a love for the music from my family and started doing music but never performing it. And the first time I was with a group that, you know, said, you have the talent. Now let's get you on stage and see if you could really captivate the audience and everything. And at 13, I was like, whoa, I'd never done it before. I'm nervous. And when I got on there, I just fell in love with it and just started going at it ever since.
And what kind of a group? You mean like a production company? We had a lot of those in Boston. Everybody and their mother had a production company.
No, it was, pretty much it was like a little label they had. It was,
okay.
You know, and there was a group of youth kids like me who grew up in the city of struggling and getting through, you know, the drama and all that, and that was another outlet for us to stay out of the streets and everything. And you know, I just fell in love with it from there. There was a mentor there that was just helping us with our craft, helping us build our craft up and everything. And when I got to the part where he was like, "You're ready to go on stage," I said, "Okay, let's do it."
Now let's rewind a little bit. Specifically, you're from the South End section of Boston, right?
Cathedral.
You're from the Cathedral Projects,
yes.
Right? So for those that don't know, you know, the Cathedral Projects was a pretty rough housing project. In fact, my mother, my uncle, and my grandparents lived in Cathedral Projects when they were first built. Of course, that was in early 50s, and according to what my mother has said, it was, in terms of what she remembers, it was pleasant. I'm certain by the time you were growing up in the Cathedral Projects, they weren't so pleasant. I had a couple of friends that lived around there growing up in the 80s and 90s, and it was pretty tough, man. What was it like for you growing up in that public housing development?
From everybody that I grew up with, they always told me from day one, keep your head on a swivel. You know, and I kept that every single day, leaving my house, going to school, coming back home, taking care of my sisters, and, you know, being the second oldest of the family, it was just my responsibility, you know, to try to make sure that my sisters stay out of trouble and, you know, set an example for them. So growing up in that city, in that part of the South End, you know, you always look different. You know, everybody thinks of you as a thug and everything, and I had to always show them that just because I came from that neighborhood doesn't mean I wanted to grow up in that section of drama and be known as that. So
yeah, just because you're from it doesn't mean you have to be of it.
No.
Yeah, I understand. I can honestly say that growing up in Boston, in Roxbury, which is even more dangerous than the neighborhood you grew up in, at least in that time period, 3 principles that you live by were very, 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 very important to sustain existence growing up in Roxbury and other sections of Boston, like the South End. And 3 of those principles, loyalty, hustle, the ability to hustle, and respect are 3 principles that you live by. Talk to me about that.
Loyalty, man. I stand on loyalty every day. That's not something that I just proudly say it. I live by it every day. I actually show it to people as, you know, loyalty to me is, you know, you ride with me, I ride with you. You know, if I'm winning, you're winning. I always want to see people succeed. If I succeed in life, I want to see the next person succeed in life. Hustle, man, in that city, and you got to know how to just get around. You know, trust me, there's days that, you know, you may be having a struggle and not being able to afford a lot of things in that city. You know, cost of living is high as well. So for me to be able to find other resources to get income and, you know, make sure that my family is straight at the end of the day, that's what my hustle and respect is. I show everybody respect. I don't care about earning that respect from anybody, but I'm going to show you, even if I don't know you, I'm still going to show you respect from the day one. You might be somebody that's famous. I still treat you as a human being.
Right,
I don't care if you're
exactly.
famous.
Right,
You know,
right.
to me, you're just another person that's trying to make a living as well.
Exactly. Now, speaking of rough cities, I've lived in Boston, of course. That's where I was born and raised. I now live in New York City. I also lived in Philadelphia. Philly is a different type of rough.
Oh, yes, it is.
I know the city very well, and it's a different animal. You recently performed in Philadelphia, and I know one thing about Philadelphians, they're hard to please. So what was it like performing in the city of brotherly love?
Well, it was my first time ever in the city of brotherly love, and you know, I was just excited to have the opportunity to go out there and show my craft and build a new fan base as I have. And you know, I was just excited. Obviously, first time, so you got to have a little bit of that jitter and everything. But knowing me, as soon as I hit that stage, that jitter goes away.
How did they treat you?
Show me so much love.
Okay.
And so much love that they want me to come back again. And,
Wow.
You know, as I already been telling people, man, I've been on this run for a while, especially when it comes to touring right now. I'm on my own independent tour, funded by me and my family and my team. And, you know, I couldn't ask for a better team. I couldn't ask for a better tour right now to show my craft, to actually come back from what I've been dealing with and being able to just show my growth, show how I became who I am today. You know, I live by the name King Supreme to Dionn. I walk that every day. I show that as, even if I'm not being the artist who I am, as a father and as a husband, I'm always 100% going at it. You know, I'm never backing down from any challenge that comes my way.
Being from Boston, a lot of times, at least from my experience, is a lot of aspiring artists or up-and-coming artists, rising artists, don't get out of the city. They seem to feel like they're comfortable in their bubble, and that's extremely unhealthy from a professional perspective. I always said that when I lived there, that, you know, this is not indicative of the world. You can't, you know, be satisfied with just performing, you know, in Massachusetts. So I think it's very important that especially nowadays, you know, that people get out of their comfort zone, and the importance of performing in different places, especially nowadays, can't be more vital. What are your thoughts on the importance of performing outside of your comfort zone, whatever that comfort zone might be?
It's very important to always branch out. You know, I've always been telling artists that I collab with, that I work with, who I actually help get them to be more comfortable in their own body and their self, is, you know, you could start in your city, build that strong base there, but when you know that you have that base, it's time for you to expand that.
Right.
You can't just stick to one part. That's what they call you, a local artist. You don't want to be that. You want to be known for not just being in your own city, but you want to be known everywhere else. So, you know, me growing up, I always knew that I didn't want to just be somebody that's known from the city. Obviously, yes, when you build that base in your own city, the city shows you love. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Not always.
Because we're from Boston. And
Yes.
Yeah, that's not, yeah.
That's not always true,
Right.
that, you know, your city shows you love, but I've always said I carry my city and my state on my back. Reason why is because from day one, my city always showed me love. My state always gave me the opportunity that I needed to expand myself. And the first part was for me to branch out is, as soon as I was able to get out and branch, the first stop was New York, because I'd never been here. And when I got to New York, the first time I performed, I bumped into you. You know, and you said, listen, I have somebody who could help you get to where you want to be. And I said, I appreciate that, because that's what I'm looking for. I don't want nobody to tell me, I don't need a yes man. I need somebody that's going to push me and tell me exactly what I'm able to do.
Right. And I think one of the things, going back to our hometown, is that so you have very few breakout superstars. You had Donna Summer in the 70s, and truth be told, Donna Summer became a celebrity after she moved out of Boston. She moved to Europe and became famous. So a lot of people didn't even make the Boston connection to her until well after she had become a success story. She did not, I repeat, make it in Boston, right? New Edition. I'm old enough to remember their come-up story. Like myself, they're from Roxbury. I remember very vividly them getting just enough money from their record deal, their first record deal with Maurice Starr, the Candy Girl album, just enough money to get some video games and some mopeds, right? And they got some mopeds, some motorbikes. They were riding them around Roxbury, and the kids were throwing rocks at them. They were known locally for being, a dope act, but the love was just not there. People from my neighborhood were just like, who do they think they are? Now, of course, X amount of years later, it's a whole different story. Guru from Gangstar, very well embraced rapper, God rest his soul. No love from Roxbury. You couldn't even get him to admit that he was from Boston. And the list goes on. I say all that to say, and my experiences growing up in Boston and trying to get into the music industry are not very different from the people that I just named. It was a situation where they did not celebrate my drive necessarily until I moved. New Edition, they didn't blow up until they moved. Donna Summer, I just explained that to you. So Boston's not a very easy city for a black artist, whether it be soul, jazz, hip hop, R&B. It's not an easy city to rise up from, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that you do not get love from your city.
No.
So the fact that you did, I'm flabbergasted, and it leads me to the next question that I'm going to ask you before we go to break. Of the cities that you have toured in, what city do you remember you getting the most love from? And just be honest.
Atlanta.
Wow.
Atlanta.
Wow.
And I know that could be very cutthroat to come from the north going down to the south.
Exactly.
Because the south, they don't really mess with a lot of north.
Right.
And being from the north, going down there and showing, what I have to bring to the table, and how I can literally stand the test of time with the rest of the artists that are doing major things today. I was just shocked for a young kid myself, going to a city that I've never been to,
right.
And going out there and saying, listen, hey, this is who I am. I'm from the city of Boston. I represent that to the fullest. I don't care if you hate it or love it. I'm showing you who I am.
Right.
And they always welcome me back. Like I said, New York is another home for me. Atlanta's another home for me as well.
That's a true testament to your talent. And we'll talk more with you right after this. And we're back here on Sessions Cafe. There's something to be said about adversity, right?
Yes.
There's something to be said about consistency.
Yes.
In this business, there's really no room for lack of consistency, right?
Correct.
People make it and don't make it nowadays, not even based so much on their talent, but based on their tenacity.
Exactly.
And life happens. I know that your parents passed away fairly recently and in a short amount of time, and I know that your dad was one of your musical inspirations.
Yes, he was.
How do you deal with that? How do you lose your parents but keep on focusing on music?
Honestly, it took a while for me to even get back to doing music when I lost my parents. I lost them 8 months apart, and my father was an inspiration to me. My mother is an inspiration to me, you know, she was my ride or die. She was my #1 fan. She was pretty much, every time she had the opportunity, she would go to any show that I was going to, or she'll watch it on Facebook, Instagram, wherever.
Yeah.
And when I lost both of them, I literally had to take a step back and look at the life that I want to live. And one thing I could always say and hear every day in my mother is never give up, never surrender. You was meant to do this. You have a gift, show the world. And, you know, having my own family of my own, they seen me go through the struggles, they seen me go through the ups and downs. You know, in the past I dealt with mental health, so they thought that I would spiral back into that because of that, naturally. Yeah. And I overcame that, and till this day, everyone that I see, family-wise or friends, they say, how are you still able to do what you do now? Yeah. And I tell them is that, listen, I give all thanks to God for that, because, and I also give, you know, the props to my wife. My wife always told me, this is what you're meant to do. I'm gonna back you up. You still got your family here. Your mother is still with you, even if she's not physically with you. Spiritually, she is, same as your father. My father, urn is in my house. Every morning when I get up, I say, good morning, Pops. Every time I go to sleep, good night, Pops. Same to my mom. This is just another challenge in life that comes ahead, and you know, if you could overcome that and get back to what you love doing, and I love doing music. Music has always been a gateway for me to express myself, and I would not stop doing this anytime soon.
Sometimes we embrace those who have passed on, who have meant so much to us in the form of, in a spiritual form. They are not here for us to hug. They are not here for us to see. They are not here for us to touch. But now, you have an angel or two,
yes,
watching over you. Does that give you any comfort?
Yeah, it does every day. Because, listen, growing up in that state, it is either you're able to hustle or you're not. You're able to make it or you're not. You know, break, take your time. I always tell people, if you deal with the situations that I've dealt with in my past and you're able to overcome that, look back at that. See, as a measurement, or basically to tell that that's your testimony. Right. You know, I was able to bounce back from almost losing my place to, you know, losing my mom and my pops and figuring out what I'm going to do next. You know, because that was basically what I called my lifeline. Right. My family was my lifeline. Right. You know, and now I have my own family, and I have my son who's going to be 8, who's autistic, and my daughter who's going to be 12. You know, I'm their inspiration. Right. I have to
their lifeline.
Yeah, I'm their lifeline. So everything that I do in life, everything that I do to this day, it's to better their future. You know, I have a bright future ahead of me, and I just want to show them that you could do anything you put your mind to, even if you have to take that break in between. You know, go back and be like, listen, I need to be around family for a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. You need to have an emotional break. Let's switch gears. Okay. So let's talk about you're the CEO of a record label. I don't know how a record label in 2025. How does that even work, bro? Yeah.
It is. It's a struggle. Trust me. You know, having my own independent label, being the brand, I had to think about it. You know, when I started this, I said, am I really going to be that artist that has a label but doesn't really think about that label and think about himself? And I stepped back, had to restructure the label and everything, and came back to it as New Age Limit Records Worldwide Incorporated, meaning that we don't just handle music anymore. Okay. I'm not just about the music. I'm about, you know, expanding to doing media, sports, wherever you name it. I'm building my team behind me. I'm actually, you know, I'm working with one artist right now from my state as well, you know, developing him to get him to the part where he could be able to do exactly what I'm doing, you know.
Well, I don't want to cut you off, but I've always had, so I'm an author. I've published I have 2 published books out, and I'm not going to say any names, but the worst publishing deal I ever had was with a publishing company that was owned by another author. The parallel here is that I've often felt that the worst record label that you could be signed to is one owned by a recording artist, because obviously they're going to want to push their own product. That's going to be their priority. When I was on that particular publishing company, I was part of that publishing company, my publisher would actually book me for radio interviews that she was on. I'd have to literally share radio interviews, you know what I mean? So why would an artist want to sign to a record label that's owned by an aspiring recording artist? I want to know.
Because when I tell people, when you sign with me, it's not all about me. And I say that from day one, before I even think about signing an artist, I tell them, listen, I can help you get to where you want to be. And the reason why I say I could do that is because I have the tools, I have the resources.
You have the experience.
I have the experience.
Right.
And I'm not all about me.
Right.
For one, I'm an artist for artists.
Got you. Okay.
And that's what my label stands on. New Age Limit Records Worldwide. It's about the new era moving forward and showing them that, listen, even an artist to this day that has millions and millions of dollars, yeah, they sign artists, but do they really take care of their artists?
Exactly. Right.
Me, I'm trying to break that, as if you sign to another person that has a label that's an artist, I want to show you that I'm not here to take your money.
Right.
I'm here to show you how to get that money, how to sustain that, and how to build on it.
And in that sense, that's the benefit. The artist would want to sign to a label owned by another recording artist because you understand their journey, right? Yeah. Music, sounds, and trends. Today it seems, at least in the opinion of this 53-year-old man, everything sounds the same. In terms of hip hop and what is called R&B. I mean, look, I come from a different era, bro, when people could actually sing. How do you swim in that pond of trends and everybody sounds the same and everybody talks the same, and even a lot of the artists that I see, their movements are the same? Like it's like you all went to school to learn how to be clones. How do you stay away from that? And if you do, how do you keep yourself away from the trends of this era?
See, I do. I listen about every new artist that comes out with a different song. I listen to that and I see the followers. I look at the aesthetics of everything and how I'm able to manage separating myself from that pool of artists that pretty much sound the same on a daily basis.
Right.
Is that I built my own brand. I built my own lane. I don't have to follow the same lane as every artist. My music is inspirational, not only inspirational, but it's also, uplifting. Encouraging as well.
Right.
And I have always said that I don't want to be like every other artist.
Right.
I want to be different. I want to be known for me.
Right.
Not being, oh, you look like Bow Wow, or you look like, T.I.
Right.
No, I'm King Supreme the Dionn.
Right.
My name stands for itself. I don't have to explain it in any way, because as I said growing up, everybody who is in the world is built to be a king or a queen for themselves.
Right.
It's just how you persona yourself. I built myself to be who I am. Reason why? Because I stand on that. I am a king. I'm a king of my own brand. I'm a king of my own family. Yeah, I am the head of the household, but my queen is also by my side on a daily basis.
Right.
I don't run the label by myself. She is also an owner.
Beautiful.
And we run it together.
Beautiful.
Every decision is made as a team, as a function. We don't split it up in any way possible.
Let's talk about your artistry. Every artist that I've spoken to in the past several years, whether on this show or the radio show that I previously host, I asked them, because now it seems that everybody wants to collaborate with everybody. So if I were to ask you to give me your collaboration wish list, 5 people, who would those people be?
For one, it'd be Jelly Roll,
Okay.
country artist. Then if it comes back to the hip hop, Jay-Z, Nas, Jonah Lucas.
Okay.
Who else? Snoop Dogg.
Okay.
You know, I listen to the greats, to the legends.
Going back to your musicality, man, who would you say are some of your early influences musically?
Musically, Boyz II Men.
Okay. Singers.
I started off in the choir.
Phenomenal
I started off singing.
Okay.
I was in a choir. I started off doing that, and I was listening to all R&B. I got into hip hop a little bit later and started listening to Nas, Jay-Z, 50 Cent, Tupac,
It's a great.
Biggie.
So that's a great list of lyrics, lyrical geniuses, in my opinion. Before we wrap up, man, we got a minute left. What's next?
What's next? You know, as I said, I'm still on tour. I have a couple of more tour stops on the way. And August, I'll be in Atlanta
Okay.
for one of their biggest events that they have out there. It's the Atlanta Hip Hop Day Festival they have on the 28th. And then, again, I'll be in Philly in October.
Okay. Okay. I wish you the best, brother. And, of course, what's your contact information if people want to?
Yeah, anybody wants to reach out to me, you know, they can follow me on Instagram at The Real King Supreme DD. On Facebook, you know, King Supreme to Dionn. Email, you can email me anytime, you know, at New Age Limit Records Worldwide Incorporated, or newagelimitrecords@gmail.com. And, you know, I'm willing to work with anybody.
Okay.
You know, I don't have, you know, a set thing for, oh no, just because you're a country artist, I don't want to work with you.
Right. Easily accessible and quite eager to work with other people.
Correct.
I love it, brother. Thank you so much for being on the show, King Supreme to Dionn.
Thank you.
Right here on Sessions Cafe, straight out of Boston, my hometown.
Yes, sir.
And I'll see you guys next week.
Peace.